knowing what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last.
That was great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ Blues is in the building. EZ Blues, you're better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us today on Behind the Brand?
So there was a phenomenal, I will say, prophetic singer who did state that she believed the children were the future. If you teach them well, it will show us the way. This is a person who has taken the next generation under his wing. This is a person who has succeeded and continued to push forward. This is a person who, as he steps forward and betters his life, he puts one hand back to bring up the community. This is what I like to call a foundation block of the community itself, whether it be celebrating the Q House, whether it be talking about his amazing church and congregation, whether it be talking about the students in which he has had the honor and privilege to watch them grow and evolve, whether it be talking about how you can create generational wealth inside of your community. This person is the person to speak to. I have had the honor and privilege to meet this man face to face. He has helped guide my children to where they are now as they continue to succeed and grow. I want you to put your hands together, not if you're driving. If you're driving, please keep your hands at 10 and 2. We do not want any accidents. But mentally, put your hands together for the amazing, the incredible, and just an all-around good guy, Malcom Welfare. Brother, how you been?
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I've been good. I'm really happy to be here with y'all. So that's icing on the cake. How you been?
Always good, always good. And it's always fun to like meet up with you and talk in the outside. And I remember actually one of the first times you and I had a face-to-face encounter. And I was like, oh yeah, I know your dad, and and my children. So everything kind of like rotates in that incredible world. Now, was it your familial tie that kind of launched you into this really motivational role in which you are really a cornerstone of our community? Was it the familial tie, or is this just ingrained upon you?
Thank you. Yeah, it is a familial tie. I have education in my blood going as far back as my great grandfather.
Oh, wow.
He was an educator and a principal, B.W. Lawrence, in North Carolina. So from there, my uncles, my mom, my dad, I've had a great uncle who've all been in education and all reached specialist level or high levels of education. So definitely something that was put on my radar early on, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, from that transition of like, dealing with it in the family, in the blood, in the genetics, you also take it in a little different direction, because it's not just giving, the material in front, but you're actually, teaching these kids how to succeed moving all the way forward. It's not just the lesson in front of you, but the full lifetime lesson that's involved there. Now, has this been like family dinners? You all sit down and come up with like a lesson plan for the week, or it's just really just kind of, yourself knocking it out of the park and seeing, they say a good human learns from their mistakes, but a great human learns from the mistakes of others. So have you looked at, say, the successes and I do this with quotation marks for those that are listening, and failures of the generation before? or is it just, again, something that is more natural for you?
Yeah, I mean, history is a critical point in my reflection throughout life, and not only looking at my individual snares and pitfalls, which, you know, as being a human being, I have many, but it's also just looking at the landscape, looking at the community, and looking at you know, where the generations before, like you said, could have improved or done things differently. So just making sure that we have um, a pathway to understanding each other across the generations has also been what has shaped that lesson plan and that agenda, as you so put it. But other than that, is, you know, being curious about history comes naturally to me. Being driven by what the elders have done in the community and the foundations that they've laid is also a driver for me. So it's a mix of things that come naturally, but also a mix of things that I intentionally look at, study, and make sure that are a part of my practice, my daily practice.
Awesome. Yeah, that's incredible, because that's really how things should go. And because you are such a sponge when it comes down to the history, and not just like the huger picture of history, but the more localized aspect of it. I have stated many and many a times, when you look at, say, politics on the national scale, there's pretty much nothing you can do. But when you really break down to it on a local scale, in which you can jump out there and really, really get involved, that's, you have a lot more control over that, and you actually have a much longer aspect in which you can reach them. I don't look at it as a failure or a success one way or the other, because as long as we are talking and we are getting, the real points of view out there, I do feel it's a success, whether policy changes or not. I like to see the change in people over the change of policy, if I'm just being honest. Has that also been a thing for you? I know it has, because, like, again, we've had these talks, but tell the people that are playing the home game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, looking at things from a perspective that doesn't just hold your experiences is critical. Like, and I think that's the thing that really gets me in line with students is they'll say, "Oh, Mr. Welfare, how you know that?" Or "You don't know about this," and I'm just like, "Well, actually, I do know about, you know, whatever it is that they're talking about." And that really not only shocks students, but gives kids an understanding that not only just me, but all the other adults in their life have different perspectives than they understand, and that they have some homework to do when it comes to interacting with us and tapping into us and getting to know what we know and what we understand about who they are. So it's it takes a lot of work to actually really be tapped into the trend, the people, and your own experiences. But it definitely is a lot more rewarding when you can show people a different side and or help people understand a different side of themselves. So
That's all. Now, speaking of different sides in history, I think it leads up to an incredible point. What exactly is the lineage group, and what is the mission statement?
well, the Lineage Group is a community enterprise that works on uplifting the psyche of the community and delivering engagement in varying forms. So post COVID, we haven't really been able to have many face-to-face gatherings, but just been able to do some different virtual things and some different community building initiatives.
Mhm.
So to be more specific, one of the things that we're working on right now is experimentation with AI art and what that can do
Mm,
for stimulating community. And as
mhm,
an AI artist myself, one of the things that I really want to do is to create a platform and a pathway for all of these great images and all these great renders that we're seeing to have a place in the world and to have a way to reach the masses. So, you know, anytime you have a technological revolution, you're gonna
mhm.
have the ability to impact people on a greater level. And this is one of those opportunities we have with technology where we can put out more positive images of the community and what it means to be a community member, and have that be pushed out on a greater scale. So that's one of the things we're working on now, is working with AI art as a way to uplift the psyche and to create and populate images and put them out to the masses.
It's super interesting because obviously with the new availability of AI, like AI has been around forever. This is not anything that is truly new. I remember when people were freaking out that computer beat that dude in chess. And we've all seen Terminator, and we're all worst case scenarios left, right, and indifferent. But now, especially that it's how do I find the proper words for this? As it starts to entwine itself in the arts, you have a lot of people that are nervous. You have a lot of people that are scared. I really think it's truly interesting because coming from the musical aspects in which I came from, David Bowie once said it. The whole technological advances in music is great, but every once in a while, someone's going to want to go home and touch something that's wood, and that's what organic or acoustic type of music is. It's something that's wood that people can go home and touch. So I feel the same way, with the AI aspect. People are like, oh, well, there's an AI program that could write a song. That's cool, but can they bring that same type of feeling that a live performance is going to bring? Is that going to make somebody cry, or is it just a proper arrangement of words? You still need the feeling behind it to go through. How do you navigate with we'll say the people who are not ready to truly accept the evolution of AI?
Well, one of the students in my class, when I was showing how to generate or render a piece of work, was like, oh, that's cheating. You're not actually drawing. And my response was, try it, give it a shot, see what you come up with. And it was very hard for that student to come up with the right words to put into the computer to make the image come out the way that they wanted it to. Once they did get to a point where they were getting something that resembled what they were seeing in their mind, when it got down to the details, they struggled again because the details weren't coming out the way that they wanted them to. So one of the things that I have learned in becoming an AI artist is that it is similar to many other artistic disciplines and many other artistic processes, in that you have to know what you're talking about. You have to be able to fully describe it in a way that an expert or someone who has been a veteran in the field would describe it, in order to render something that would be marketable, or something that somebody would buy. So it is a lot of work. You do have to spend multiple attempts and tries trying to render one thing. When you are designing something and you are creating something original, you have to know the style, but you can't use the style or the output of an established artist already. And for me, those are the rules of ethics when it comes to AI art. It's, going in with the mindset of creating something original, going in and building a prompt. And that's what we use to create AI images or AI output. It's called a prompt. And there are people who make lots and lots more money than I do being a teacher, being a prompt engineer. So these prompt engineers have perfected over time their ability to tell the computer something and for the computer to respond in an appropriate way. So as this starts to become more pocket-sized in mainstream technology, I think people will start to realize how hard it actually is and how specific they need to actually be with the computer in order to generate a specific response.
So it's not easy.
Yeah, no, not easy at all.
Gotcha.
Oh, and also, the perfect way to prove that when it becomes pocket size, you're still not, people are going to see how difficult it is. On every iPhone owner for the longest time has had GarageBand, which is a phenomenal recording program, on their phone, and not one of them has written the next Stairway to Heaven. Let's be real. Or whatever song you think is a phenomenal song type of aspect. We'll say "Carry On My Wayward Son" because there's a whole bunch of people that probably watch that show that I don't remember the name of. But so it really is
Right,
that aspect. Yeah, and I also love the fact that you are showing the creative side of this, because there's a whole bunch of people who think that anybody can get something in their hands, type in a word or so, like people were seeing it in the TikTok explosion of AI. You could type in like a birthday and there'd be a specific image that shows up in there. But they don't understand that there is a whole process of writing the code for that prompt, so that when you enter in that birthday, that is what shows up, or that is the theme that is going to go through. And you saw that also very much with like Nine Inch Nails, where Trent Reznor took the technological aspects of the more industrial music and made it part of the melody, and made it part of the construction of it all. Anybody who's ever seen the Sound City documentary that Dave Grohl did, they actually talk about that. There's a huge section of that. So right now, considering everybody is watching this on a replay, I want you to pause this interview, go watch that section, and then come back to this, and you'll be like, these guys were right. It's amazing. And that's great. But let's talk about today. Let's talk about the now. You're very involved in a lot of different things in the community itself. You find great joy in representing this community as it continues to move forward and evolve. Now, that doesn't mean you don't make sure that people are being held accountable. But you definitely are big in the celebration aspect of it. I remember, you possible when the Q House finally got opened. What was that like, going on that entire journey? Because you were there with them from pretty much day one.
And he's there with us
uh,
now on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ Blues is in the building. Malcolm, looking forward to your answer. Go right ahead.
Well, being on the building committee, starting in 2015. So I wasn't at the very beginning, being the younger people in New Haven, at that time, especially. I'm still one of the younger community members, but being a younger version of me, I was amazed at how much work and effort was put in by the elder members of the community and some of the ancestors who had passed on, in getting us to the point of being able to have a building committee and to sit and talk about what we wanted to see in the Q House, and what from our different points of representation would benefit the community and the students that we work for and the elders that we work for and all the families that we represent as well. Fast forwarding to the end of our work as a building committee, and then being asked to be a part of the board of directors, which I now serve on, has also been an amazing process, just to see how, okay, we talked about it. We had these great ideas. We had these great concepts. We met with the architects, and okay, we had some great conversation, but to actually see it be built, to see it come into fruition, to have meetings to talk about the planning and the programming, and then to see our counterparts and our partners over at LEAP do amazing work, which in programming is led by Yakita Robinson, has been awe-inspiring. I mean, I have seen programming come in for students who normally probably wouldn't have been able to access that type of programming, such as the New Haven Ballet, which is at minimum a $400 ticket for families, in order to practice ballet with the New Haven Ballet Academy. To now have free access for a range of ages of young girls is amazing to see. To see families come in and be able to do yoga together, to come in and do painting together, to come in and to have specialized programs for their family and their organizations has been a great joy of mine. And just watching the soup get made and watching how everything kind of came together, all the way from the bonding that happened at the state level, which was initiated by the mayor, Tony Harp, and what it took for the alders to approve that and to get that bond money actually in the city's coffers, and then get the building erected, the zoning, and it's been an amazing experience for a young person to have. And I really want to share that with more young people and more people who are my age, because, you know, this is the clarion call here. You know, there's not enough of us out there. There's not enough young people out there, and we're going to be the ones who are either at the heads of the table now or pushing the new initiative. So we have to know how these things work. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I take away from my years of service here at the Q House, is just really being given the gift of know-how, being given the gift of understanding how the table is constructed, because everybody's talks about getting to the table, pull up to the table, pull your own seat to the table. But if you don't understand what is driving how that table is constructed, then you're not going to be able to navigate. You're just going to be a participant sitting at the table silently. And so moving past silence and getting to the activity of what it means to build community has been a great gift that I've been given, and being able to serve. So that's why I'm always willing to serve and to lend my time and myself out, because I'm learning something and gaining something.
It's amazing. And for those who haven't been following, this isn't just a community aspect that happened after the building. There was a lot of incredible talks to make sure there were local people that were working on building the building. That there were people that were represented from the community building this community project. So when it is stated that it is a community project, it is for the community, by the community. Something that gets lost because everyone wants to see those huge corporate sponsors' names on there. And that's what's a beautiful thing, is this is something that was really crafted by the community and for the community. So it's the community that is represented.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough, Easy, for highlighting that, because I mean, when we get to the finish line, we don't remember always all the things that it took to get there, but there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into making sure that the community has a voice. So, again, another clarion call: community, we need you to come fill up the building. We need you to come and donate to the building, to make sure that the community has ownership of the building moving forward and into the future, as opposed to those big name corporate sponsors. And those names are great. A lot of those names give back to the community, like a Cornell Hill Scott Health Center, which started as a grassroots organization and built its way up to a bigger name. So it's not to say that those names aren't great and that they're not doing great work. But what we're trying to say is that the community is the main beneficiary of the Q House, and we want the community to continue to give it life and to continue to give it access.
That's awesome. That is awesome, and I truly love that, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight that aspect of it, because it's super refreshing to see and kind of give the community that kind of high five, all the way through. I used to watch that Lego Masters show all the time, and watching them do these incredible things is ridiculous. But when I actually have the opportunity to build something and take that time and invest in it, I like my piece a lot better than I like the piece that is celebrated on the corporate television. You know what I mean? And I think that is something that this community needs. Because we start to lose sight of all the incredible history, and I state this all the time about the musical history that is New Haven, whether it be some of the bigger acts that have come through, but even just, the jazz club that there is in talks right now, on Dixwell. Find out Charlie Parker played there, Thelonious Monk played there, all these incredible artists have played there, but it's still, because we fall, in between two bigger scenes, New York and Boston, New Haven kind of gets forgotten about. But there's a lot of, you do the history, do the research. Yes, Jim Morrison was arrested here, yada yada. No one, I'm not talking about that type of history or research, but the fact that Charlie Parker was here and played the things through, at a time where it was before some, people would think they were iconic records because they were in that moment. And there's been a lot of phenomenal moments out here. What has been one of your favorite ones that kind of gets missed over by other people?
My gosh, man, you're so on point when you talk about like the hidden, little known histories of New Haven.
Hmm.
And that's one of the other things that I'm really passionate about and working on and bringing to light in the community. And through my work with on the board of the Amistad Committee, and being on the board of directors there, just hearing the story of William Lanson, which is the statue that's right behind me.
Hmm.
Ah, man, that story, I still sit back and I'm just like, yo, what? How is this possible that this man lived in this city and impacted this
Hmm.
city in such a great way? And for those who don't know much about William Lanson, I'll tell you one of the main things that I think is part of his one of his biggest contributions from his legacy in extending the Long Wharf. Because what that did was create pathways for commerce, pathways for trade, pathways for access that we still benefit from as New Haveners. That coming
Hmm.
and going and that conduit that we serve as being between New York and Boston is
Hmm.
um, is not just something that we see because we have highways now. Like this is something that we have been known for and that we perfected in the 1800s because of William Lanson.
Hmm.
There's a lot more to his story. It gets a lot more in depth, like the fact that he owned a hotel that serviced multiple demographics in the city: free people, formerly enslaved people,
Hmm.
immigrants who are European descent, immigrants who are of other descents, and had them all in one area in Worcester Square. And so not a lot
Okay.
of people know that Worcester Square was populated and cultivated by a Black man. But prior
Hmm.
to that, it was kind of a mud hole, kind of a dust bowl area that nobody really wanted the land for, which is how he got it. But then he
Hmm.
showed what he can do with it. So I encourage everybody to look into that story and to see how strong New Haven history was, even back in the 1800s, and at a time where you would think that it's mostly just immigrants and people who don't, know anything about the area. There were people here who were cultivating and building and providing resources to those immigrant populations. So it's like understanding that nobody does it alone is really the New Haven story. And understanding that everybody contributed, and there's it's not just a point of your cultural contributions as the start, but that
Hmm.
there could be something beyond that or something that came before that. And I think is the biggest lesson of New Haven. Just take a look back and see.
And for those who really need another reason, we wouldn't have those incredible food trucks on Long Wharf if it was not for this man. Like, let's be real.
Oh,
I just to make it even more personal, you wouldn't have that incredible, you know, uh, pastore taco
yeah.
that you can get at any point in time.
Amen
If
to
it was
that.
not for this. I'm just being real. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm the same person that looks at it. If more people taught in math classes that Pythagoras invented the string tension to give us a chord, more people would be paying attention in math. If the guy who came up with a squared plus b squared equals c squared also came up with chordal music, you know, if it wasn't for Pythagoras, there would be no Cardi B. You'd have a lot more people paying attention in math class. But that's
Yeah.
just me.
You gotta make it relative, right? Like, and that's
Mhm.
the long and short of it. So that's also why I do what I do. You gotta make it relative. So I appreciate those that illustration for the
Right.
folks. It's important.
Word. No, it totally is, and that's I think one of the reasons why, you know, we've sat and had many of conversations that have probably lasted way too long, and other people have walked away from because, you know, their beard hairs were starting to grow gray. um, yeah. So now, you know, that you're on all these boards, that you are moving and you're shaking, and you really have again become one of the cornerstone of the community and of the next generation that's taking the reins of the community. What are some of the next steps in evolution? Like what is the Lineage Project looking like tomorrow? What is, you know, Q House looking like tomorrow? What is Amistad looking like tomorrow in your eyes?
Well, I have a vision for the community where, again, more young people are involved and are sharing their perspective. Um, but more than that, they are collaborating with the elders in a way that is productive.
Mhm.
Um, so much of my generation, I feel like, has shared perspective, but it didn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
Um, and that's not to point fingers or place blame on any particular generation. But I just want for my generation to be a little bit different in supporting that youth and not just listening and hearing and saying, oh, okay, and then moving on, but to actually actionize and to galvanize what they're saying into things that make sense for the community and make sense for those youth.
Right.
Um, I see the Q House becoming more of a hub for information and resources for people. I see it becoming
Mhm.
a place of trade and commerce and like a community market. And
Mhm.
I really see it becoming a place where people can try new things and explore ways to even, you know, hopefully in the future get certified doing some things that they never thought maybe they would do, or they saw themselves doing but didn't have the full platform to go with that certification and get that level of knowledge. So
Right.
just really giving it a platform to elevate more people. I want Amistad Committee to continue to let people know who we are. I feel like we do so much work in the community that actually goes out and tells the story of New Haven that people don't know, but sometimes it gets missed. So just having Amistad Committee be a household name, definitely one of my
Mhm.
goals. And we are expanding our board. We're adding new members, bringing on some new blood. That's pretty exciting.
Mhm.
And for Lineage Group, I want to have us get out there and have some more in-person events.
Mhm.
I miss it. I miss the vibe that we used to create. We had a curated artist show that we did where we brought all kinds of visual artists together from different mediums. We had sculptors, we had dancers, we had painters, we had collagists, we had um, all kinds of art. We had singers, poets, workshopists, all come to Art Space New Haven and put on a beautiful show. Um, and that was one of the last few programs that we put on. We did an art series pre-COVID, and I want to get back to that. I want to get back to something that involves the
Mhm.
technology and the futurism that we have as the community and people of color across the diaspora. But
Mhm.
then also just getting our merch out there. We got some merch on the AI art
There you go.
store. So you know, I would love for people to go and patronize that. Our Instagram is good to go serve. So that's
Mhm.
GOOD number two, GOSERV on Instagram. And our Etsy store is linked to that Instagram page. But other than that, I just really want those images of positivity and of Black people to be out there in the mainstream, and just for people to really share how it's making them continue to share how it's making them feel. So, you know, hearing that feedback and the fact that the art can make people feel good, and that, you know, my art is pretty good is really a boost for the self-esteem. So just getting it out there to people, to help boost their self-esteem is really what I want to do. And that's where I see things going. I see us growing leaps and bounds in New Haven, all across the board in these next few years. I
No,
think
definitely.
we've learned a lot from COVID. We've learned a lot from political actions and activity, and I think it's time for us to get back out there as a community and take the reins.
Can we get an invite to
No.
this next event?
Yeah, you can definitely get an invite. The next event, I'll let you know when it's going down, where it's going down, and what's happening, and we'll take it from there. Yeah. What I'm working on right now also is trying to get some young people together to do kind of like a listening tour for some of these candidates who are popping up to share their platform, share what they're going to be able to do for the especially the youthful population. I won't say the youth, I'll say the youthful population, because I know some people who are older than me, as a 35-year-old man, some people who are older than me that have a lot more virility and youthfulness to them than some other people that I know who are my age. So we need everybody. We want everybody to get out there and get involved and come listen and hear. So a listening tour for the candidates is going to be coming out soon, and I'll let you know when that is.
And actually, I love you kind of segued into something that's perfect there. You know, you talk a lot about, you know, the Black community, and which is super necessary. But for the one person who is sitting at home right now hating and is not watching the video, I am very pale. I am almost transparently pale. My children are also extremely pale, almost transparently pale. You have always come with love and acceptance. You have always seen the community as a brighter thing. So for before anyone jumps into the comment section and starts to bring their own insecurities to the table,
On WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime in Long Island Raised, Elm City made EZ BlueZ is in the building. We got the genius Malcom Wellforce with us on Behind the Brand. Go ahead, Easy, continue.
So in no way is it about exclusivity. It's about inclusivity. So everyone is in this community, but at the end of the day, a lot of people's stories have not been told and have not been given the same respect. So those stories need to be told. Those stories need to be highlighted. You know, people who look a certain way need to know that there are heroes that look like them that have been throughout history. That is important. But in no way is it saying, I can't come and sit down and talk at the table, or my children are not welcome to be part of these things. And I really want the listener to understand that. You know, no one's trying to take anyone's place. No one's trying to do anything other than everyone sit here and talk and see each other and fall in love with each other in the communal aspect. Am I right there?
That's right. Absolutely, 100%. When we say diaspora at the Lineage Group, we are talking about all people. And because when we look at from a historical perspective, all people come from that diaspora origin, that seed that started human life. So no one is excluded, everybody's included, and we got to get to that. We got to get to that level of love, like you said, as a community.
Awesome. And it's just something that I always know there's somebody who's going to try to twist the word, because again, they're projecting their own insecurities. So before they stop one key on that thing, know that that's not what any of this is about. And, you know, this is about mutual love and mutual respect. And I think it is incredible. Right. Now, you personally, what is the next evolution of you?
Ooh, wow. Well, I'm a dad, and so that's like one of the most important hats that I wear. And just you know, evolving as a father, evolving as somebody who has played, you know, with my own, just making sure that I am providing layers of access to me that maybe different than what I'm used to as a young man, just going, but making sure that my family has that same level of access that the community does, making sure that my family has that same level of all the different facets of me that I show the community. I want to show my family as well. So that's really my main focus. Leveling up as a father, leveling up as a family man, leveling up in my own understanding of the world as it's changing, because there's so many new things post COVID. There's so many new issues, so many new idiosyncrasies that have been created, that I want to make sure that I am in full understanding of myself and the world around me, so that way I can be an effective leader. That's really it, man. Just really focused on that.
Gentlemen, I have
yes.
something to say. I know I've been in and out because these whole Wi-Fi demons that I have in my house. Didn't we mention about the great highlight of Malcolm getting the key to the city?
No, we've not talked about the key to the city.
How did that feel?
You got the key to the city?
How did that feel?
Yes, I did get a key to the city. It was surreal feeling. It was kind of like, I'm just a kid from New Haven, but then like when you step back and look at it, it's like, nah, like, this is your time to lead and your time to be in community with others who are leaders. So it really was a wake-up call for me, in that it was like, all right, you have to embrace of leadership. You're not the trainee anymore. It's go time. It's actually time to actually do these things that you've seen other people do. And getting used to that has also been a learning curve as well, because some people have told me like, oh, you're too humble. You need to lead. Go ahead. Oh, I didn't know I could. I'm not used to that. So it's a new layer of leadership. But very humbling. And to see all the other recipients who were well-deserved in receiving the key to the city, I was impressed to be in the ranks and amongst the other honorees. So it was very humbling, but yet very eye-opening.
Now,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, continuing going through the evolution and different things like that. You're on these different boards, you're on these different things. You also have an incredible personality, and you also handle yourself very well in an interview aspect. Is the newer or the next evolution also going to be maybe stepping forward in a governmental role? Being a candidate yourself? Do we see maybe, I don't know, 2030, Malcolm welfare for mayor? I mean, it rhymes. It rhymes. Saying.
It does rhyme. I do like the ring of that. That did sound.
It kind of works, man.
It kind of works.
Just saying.
I don't know. Might have to do it.
I'm just saying.
I welcome that in my life. I feel like that's definitely in some kind of municipal capacity. Again, right now, like my focus is my family. So this time right now in these few years, probably not, but 2030, sounds like some good timing. So I definitely will consider it easy. For sure.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Also, how's your dad?
He's good. He's doing well. If anybody knows Harry Welfare, you've either had him as a student or you've been one of his parents, and you know that he loves what he does. So he previously retired the end of last year, but is now going back part-time over at Troop to be with the students and to help facilitate learning. So his passion is still burning very strong, but he's doing very well. Doing very well. I'll let him know you asked about him.
Yeah, and please tell him both me and all three of the children we are sending him love and thank you for just being an awesome part of their lives going through. So
The message for sure. Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Malcolm, you ever
Press-
consider doing podcasting in the future? Because I did meet you in a radio station.
You did. And I have considered and been thinking about getting back into broadcasting. Just the time factor right now, when I was doing the broadcasting, I wasn't really so much on the boards and doing the heavy community organizing. But things seem to go in cycles in my life, so I'll probably get back to it soon. It's fun. No, I like it. I like being with y'all. Here with y'all.
No, definitely. We learned a lot. Definitely so much, man. So much knowledge. And one thing I really loved about this interview was just the history that we don't know about New Haven, which is crazy. You just gave us just a little chunk. There's so much knowledge beyond the Amistad, beyond all this events that have been going on in New Haven that we need to know. There's a lot of heroes, unspoken heroes within New Haven that people really do need to know too. So there's just so much layers. That's infinite amount of knowledge that I'm just willing to learn. I just think we just not even get to much of the frosting and the cake with this. Do you agree, Easy?
Oh yeah, no, we haven't. Not only we haven't scratched the surface. We and that's one of the most incredible things, and that's what I love about New Haven. That's why, I made the active choice to move to New Haven, is because how multiply diverse this place is, how historical this place is. There is even, the green was constructed, to hold the capacity of the amount of people that are supposed to be picked up from the initial rapture. Not a lot of people know that story, or it's just really super interesting to find out. And all the incredible events that has happened, seeing, the Temptations play on the green, Salt and Pepper have played the green, all these incredible acts. But then it's more than that. It's checking up at the Q House to see when Manny James is going to throw down like an incredible Sunday set. That is the history that is happening now. So yes, obviously let's take a look and continue to grow and see where we came from, but let's not forget to check in, and take that capoeira class, to see if you can be, like only the strong survive, and have those type of aspects, or get your kids involved in the chess club that happens, at the Q House, so that they can continue to understand and grow, and they can, see what true strategies are like. Because you're not just learning the strategies of a game when you play chess, you're learning the strategies of life. And yes, you can use that as a commercial. But it's really important to sit and be 100% vested in now. You talked a little bit about the ballet program. You talked a little bit, obviously we mentioned the capoeira, we mentioned the yoga. What can we maybe stumble into and find you at the Q House? Like, are we going to see you in the capoeira class?
Yes, you will catch me at the capoeira class. I love doing the capoeira. It's been definitely increasing my flexibility. But you can also catch me checking out The Breed. The Breed Entertainment has a class over at the Q House for music production. And so that's really exciting because The Breed is a local music group who has grown into, and not just performance, but also the production of music. So they're into the entrepreneurial side, they're into the production side, and they're into making artists enhance their skills through their class. So it's a really great thing to see. I'm also at any special events that the Q House has. I try to make it my business to be there as a board member and to support and to get that
Now
from the
now
community.
with those special events and stuff, unfortunately they're pulling the Apollo curtain on us right now, and we have to wrap up. But we need people to know how they can connect with you. We need people to know how they can figure out where these special events are going to be and how they're going to run into you. So yeah, if you could like super quickly drop your contact info. And man, it's been an honor and a privilege, and I feel like we should be doing this on a regular basis, but we'll talk.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm available. I'm around. My contact to get in touch with me, you can search the Q House, Google that. You can Google the Amistad Committee Incorporated. Google that. You can also Google my name, Malcom Welfare, Malcom Welfare, just like it sounds. And I have all kinds of social media up there. I have a LinkedIn. I have all kinds of things that you can use to reach out to me. I'm pretty well connected. I have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can find me on those platforms. And yeah, I'm always out in the community as well. So I'll see you out there. Meet me at the Q.
Most definitely. Malcom, thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast, man. It's been great having you on.
I appreciate taking the time with y'all and having the ability to talk with y'all and being given the platform. So thank you.
Definitely. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, BlueZ Blues on Behind the Brand on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, New Haven.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a discount? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs to the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft.